Hello everybody, this is Jerry Furst with a trade log update with TradersEducationNetwork.com. It's now Sunday, May 11th, 2014, 1:20 in the afternoon. Hope you're enjoying the day and the weekend, and otherwise, if you're watching this later on, make sure no matter what, you come back and tune in for part 2 because trade is still in process, but we already have a monster gain of over 1,200% in this trade. So let's get to it. But first, pause the video, read this, and then continue. So here's Monster Beverage. They provide a lot of energy drinks and they're continuing to expand their product line and their distribution. We had closed at 66.12 on Thursday and closed at 66.97 on Friday, showing that we had a market maker move expectation of approximately 3 points, and that coincided with a Fibonacci cluster up at around 69.50, as well as take 3 points away. We also have a huge Fibonacci cluster at 63.25. Notice that we also have on the weekly, this is a 30-minute chart on the left, on the weekly chart on the right, you can see that we had strong resistance and support at the same $63 level back in August of 2013, as well as November, December timeframe of 2013. We already tapped that support level once, and we did tap it again, as you'll see in a moment. Let's look at the trade for a second. On Thursday, May 8th, a couple of minutes before the closing bell, a calendar trade was initiated where I sold 10 of the 66.50 calls for $1.39, and I also bought 10 of the 66.50 calls 2 weeks further out. These weekly options were going to expire the next day, which is Friday, May 9th, and it cost me 45 cents. You can see here that on May 9th, 9:44 a.m., I bought back those 10 contracts that I had sold for $1.39, and I bought them back for 5 cents. My assumption was, and it did play out, that initially there would be a dip in the stock, and I bought those options back on the dip, and then later on in the day, I went ahead and sold out 7 of the 10 contracts that I had bought that expire 2 weeks from now. So even though I paid $1.84, I bought them back for $1.35. As the trade stands right now, I have a 1,240% gain, which, as long as the stock stays stable or continues to go up, that may even increase even more. So let's go ahead and take a look at the trade, what happened. So here we opened in the morning at 9:30. This is where we closed Thursday. Friday morning, we came right down to this Fibonacci cluster. For those people who don't believe in Fibonacci's, here's one more reason to reassess that. Then we came right back up to what? Another Fibonacci cluster. Another reason for you doubters to maybe look into Fibonacci's a little more. And notice that, let's go to the live chart. Here's the live chart, and now that we're looking at a 3-minute chart, and you can see a little bit closer what happened. We actually went ahead and I was watching as it opened. Price came down immediately on the opening ticks, came down, hit the Fibonacci cluster, came back down, and right about here you can see in the information bar, look at the time up in the top left, 9:45. That's about the time that my indicator started telling me that maybe I should go ahead and close out the short side of the trade, and that was when I went ahead and at 9:44 I went ahead and bought those 10 contracts that I had sold, eliminating that negative exposure on the trade. Now I'm long for 2 weeks the 66.50 calls. So now the rest of the day, what happened? Price continued to move higher, and right around 12 noon we hit resistance and closed the gap from the previous day's close at about 66.04. So I'm watching and waiting, and I have a belief that the market will continue to rally towards at least the early afternoon. And around 2 o'clock, we went ahead and closed below the moving average that I use as one of my triggers. And that's when I got out at about 2 o'clock. If I would have held on, I would have gotten out at potentially even $2 on the options that I had bought for $1.85. But I was happy to go ahead and lock in some of my gains. I'm now long 3 contracts uh, of the 6650 calls, and I'll be watching those Monday and Tuesday. I'm not anticipating to stay in this long term. I'm looking at other earnings trades to do similar trades. Speaking of which, we also had winning trades in Office Depot last week. And also tune into the Whole Foods videos. If you go to traderseducationnetwork.com, you'll see part 2 and part 1 of the Whole Foods video. On April 8th, I initiated trade on Whole Foods with a huge head and shoulder pattern. You can see that I have over 365% gains on that, and I've now reversed that trade with the belief that Whole Foods is now oversold. To buy that dip, I took some of the profits. I had a $6,500 gain there, and I put $300 to work buying the June 45 calls. I'm going to probably stay in that trade for about a week or two, expecting a bounce back up. So Jerry Furst for Traders Education Network, where we have looked at Monster Beverage. What I would encourage you to do if you're interested in learning about high probability chart patterns, Fibonacci's, moving averages, indicators, or if you're an experienced trader, go to traderseducationnetwork.com, click on the banner up on top with the private mentoring and training for traders. And what you'll do is you'll find a screen that looks like this. Fill out the survey form, and then we will go ahead and schedule a time for a conversation to find out what might be best for you. If you live in South Florida, there's going to be a rare 2-week trader training workshop Sunday, June 1st and June 8th. And we'll talk about high probability chart patterns, moving averages, entry and exit strategies, step-by-step processes and checklists that I use, candlestick reversal patterns, Fibonacci retracements and extensions, using multiple time frames, and you'll also get exposure to free charting software that you can use anywhere in the world with no downloads. You'll also get access to me as a coach and mentor during the process of the 2 weeks, as well as lecture and assignments. There's a 100% no risk guarantee. If you don't believe that you've learned anything or came away with more experience, no problem. No one's ever asked for a refund yet. My best clients are either brand new beginners or people who are experienced stock and option traders looking for a professional, non-biased second opinion as far as what they're doing and thinking, not just some cheerleader friend who wants to talk about the latest shiny metal object that they're chasing, trying to figure out the holy grail. I'm a professional teacher and trader, been running Investors Education Network for over 10 years. And for those people who recognize the value of having an experienced coach and mentor, go ahead and fill out the survey form. There's no charge. It's on me. So with that, I want to go ahead and wish you the best in trading and tune in for part 2, which will be coming out shortly on Monster Beverage with that 1,200% plus gain so far in the trade. Jerry Furst at traderseducationnetwork.com. Have a great day.